Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share a heartwarming story with you titled, When Dad's Away, the Cats Will Play. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Of course, if it's not your style, feel free to skip it. No hard feelings. Now, let's begin the story. When my husband left for a work trip, he looked a little worried, as if the house would become too quiet for me and our daughter. He said, "Don't feel lonely, okay?" I smiled and waved, but deep inside, I was already laughing. Lonely? With this many cats? Not a chance. As soon as he stepped out of the door, the furry chaos committee reminded me of their presence. Two were stretched out dramatically across the sofa, as if performing an opera. Three were engaged in a high-speed chase from the kitchen to the hallway, scattering slippers like fallen soldiers. Another pair had claimed the windowsill, staring outside with an air of wisdom, as if they were philosophers contemplating the meaning of life. My daughter, who usually misses her father a lot, turned to me and whispered, "Mom, don't worry. We still have the cats." And just like that, the sadness of him being away melted into laughter. Our house wasn't empty. It was overflowing with paws, tails, whiskers, and mischief. It felt like we weren't just two people left behind. Instead, we were the captains of a ship crewed by a fleet of fluffy sailors. Life with so many cats is like living in a cartoon where every frame hides a new surprise. Open the wardrobe, and there's a cat curled up on top of my winter scarves. Sit down to drink tea, and a curious paw will appear on the table, reaching for the spoon as if it were a priceless treasure. At night, I try to stretch out on my bed, only to find it fully occupied. The cats, with their impeccable sense of entitlement, arrange themselves like royalty. One takes the pillow, another guards the blanket, and yet another somehow sleeps exactly in the middle, preventing me from rolling over. My daughter finds this endlessly entertaining. She names the cats according to their jobs. There's the supervisor, who watches us cook dinner and makes disapproving faces if we forget to share a piece of chicken. The acrobat, who somehow manages to leap from the couch to the shelf without ever knocking anything over. And of course, the thief, who waits until I turn my back before stealing food straight off the counter. My daughter insists that living with them is better than any cartoon show. I must admit, she has a point. Still, there are challenges. For example, trying to mop the floor with a cat chasing the mop is like being in a slapstick comedy. And when the doorbell rings, all the cats rush to the door at once, creating a furry barricade that even delivery men are afraid to approach. Yet instead of feeling frustrated, I can't help but laugh. After all, these cats don't just live in the house, they are the house. They fill every corner with warmth, mischief, and an endless supply of amusement. As the days go by without my husband at home, I realize something unexpected. The cats aren't just pets, they're little life coaches disguised in fur. They teach us to find joy in small things, like chasing a feather or napping in a sunbeam. They remind us that comfort can come from simply being close to one another, even if that means piling on top of each other in the same armchair. They show us that routine isn't boring, it's comforting. Breakfast, nap, play, repeat. Life doesn't need to be complicated to be meaningful. Most importantly, they remind us that family isn't just about people. It's about the bonds we share, the way we care for each other, and the laughter we create together. Even though my husband is away, our home is still filled with love, noise, and companionship. My daughter and I don't feel empty. We feel supported by a furry army that never lets us be alone. One evening, as I watched my daughter giggling at a cat who had managed to trap himself inside an empty shopping bag, I thought about how modern life often pushes us to feel stressed, busy, and disconnected. Yet here we were, surrounded by cats, and somehow everything felt lighter. Perhaps the secret to happiness is not in having more money, a bigger house, or the latest gadget, but in appreciating the joy right in front of us. For us, that joy just happens to come with whiskers and paws. When my husband calls from his hotel room, he asks, "Do you miss me?" I grin and say, "Of course we do. But don't worry, the cats are keeping us busy." He laughs, knowing exactly what that means. And when he finally returns, he'll be welcomed not just by two loving humans, but by an entire feline welcoming committee ready to purr, climb, and probably knock over his suitcase in their excitement. So no, we're never lonely. Not when we have each other. And certainly not when we live in a house where every corner hides a cat ready to turn an ordinary day into a story worth remembering. The story of living with many cats while a loved one is away reflects a deeper truth about modern life. Companionship and joy can come from the simplest and most unexpected places. In a world where people often feel pressured by loneliness, work stress, or the constant pull of technology, the presence of pets, or any small source of comfort, reminds us that happiness doesn't always require something grand. The cats in the story turn ordinary days into little adventures, showing that laughter, warmth, and connection can be found in daily moments. For modern life, this offers an important lesson. Instead of focusing solely on what's missing, like a partner being away or material things we don't yet have, we can choose to focus on what's already around us. Whether it's pets, family, friends, or even small personal rituals like reading, gardening, or enjoying a cup of tea, these moments create a sense of belonging and contentment. In today's fast-paced, often isolating society, learning to value presence over absence and simplicity over excess can transform the way we experience life. In short, cultivate joy in the little things, and you'll find you're never truly alone.